All right, welcome to Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 30. The podcast just started and Bryan is laughing already.
You had a really funny joke off air.
It wasn't a joke.
But
it wasn't a joke.
Well, we're just gonna keep that. We're just gonna keep that inside for the benefit of everybody. I'm rattled.
Yeah, it will be for the better. Dexter Henry, Bryan Fonseca. Here, as we said, episode 30. We're at 30 episodes.
Rasheed Wallace episode.
Rasheed Wallace episode. Yes. I like that.
We gotta pull these names.
Both
out,
teams played hard. That's what we're saying. Both teams
we had Bilal Powell last week. Now we have Rasheed Wallace. And next week, actually later this week, because we're posting this Monday, number 31 with a guest.
That's the number I don't like in sports.
You're a Knicks fan.
Yeah, you go.
That was actually my high school basketball number. My number was 31 on my jersey. And I wore that because that was my brother's number, but my brother also wore that because Reggie Miller, and he's a Knicks hater.
Okay. Your brother's officially corny.
Well, this was back then. I wore, you know what I mean?
He still gets corny points for that.
I like 31. 31's a solid number. 31 was my number.
Okay.
But it doesn't have to be the Reggie Miller episode. It's okay. We got
it won't be.
No, we got a name, but we'll keep that until the big reveal.
It won't be that. It should be the Mike Piazza episode, but we'll get to that.
That's what I was gonna. You just spoiled it.
Yeah, man. So a lot of stuff going on. Busy week. We've put out some shorts. Takes that we have.
We should plug that real quick
with this episode, so y'all can check that out. We have it on Instagram, on Twitter.
Yes.
You guys can check that out.
Hashtag ahttXtra with only the X.
Yes.
Capital X.
Yep.
No E.
I'm not throwing my X's up. I'm not from the Bronx, so I'm not going to do that.
All lowercase. I'm doing it for us. Lowercase A, ahttXtra.
There you go.
There you go.
So you guys can check that out. We'll try to give you guys some
and behind
extra
the pod
stuff.
Is back.
And Behind the Pod is back, which our producer Matthew Finiza put it together.
Finally.
It's finally, because Bryan was annoying him.
Yo, you can't be throwing me in a spot, man. I'm a junior in college. I got
he had finals.
Pages. Come on.
He had finals.
Come on.
Excuse me.
Finals,
on,
exams.
Yeah,
let me be.
You can't let him live.
Hey, man, what's more important, producing the podcast or behind the pod?
You really want me to answer that?
No. Did you hear what he said? Producing the podcast or behind the pod. Not producing the podcast or finals. I know what you wanted to answer to, but that's not what he said.
Damn, why didn't you?
Yeah,
whatever.
I knew where he was going to jump to. I knew where he was going, but no. Anyway, before we did this podcast, we were talking about situational comedies that we watch, and he's laughing already. And I brought up this point to Bryan, which is a point I made for years. Now, there are situational comedies that I currently enjoy on TV. One of my favorite shows on TV. If you want to call it a comedy, it's kind of tough. I look at it more as a drama and a comedy. Atlanta, I love that show. I also love Insecure. A little bit more on the comedic side, but also has some drama elements. Obviously, I love stuff like Curb Your Enthusiasm, Arrested Development, which actually is coming back soon for its 5th season on Netflix.
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, anime series I definitely like. So there's comedies I like. And what I said was bringing up to Bryan is, I don't think I thought about this when I was necessarily young, but situational comedies back in the day, everybody had a laugh track. This is before you had comedies that were, handheld single shot cameras style done, which really was kind of revolutionized by Arrested Development. But everybody had a laugh track. And I think laugh tracks personally are stupid. Right? Like, why did I ever need somebody else to tell me when to laugh? That something's funny.
And
why?
And the reason we got to this discussion was because, what was it about the Big Bang Theory? They got like an extension or something?
Yeah, season 12 and 13 got extended.
And we were talking about how the Big Bang Theory is not funny. Basically.
Not at all.
I don't find it funny. I have a friend of mine, Michelle, who loves that show. Shout out to Michelle.
Not Michelle, you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not Michelle. I mean, Michelle, you might like that show, but not to my knowledge.
I hope not.
I hope not.
I like Athletic Appetites, though.
Yeah.
Shout out to Michelle, you. Her show, Athletic Appetites, guest of the podcast, is on SNY. It's now a full half-hour show. You guys should check that out. Really good. I just never understood it. Like, I really believe this. I think there are things we look back in history and we're like, why did people do this? And I really think when people look at the history of television, they're going to go back and look and be like, why did people do this? It might be 40, 50 years from now, but people are going to be like, why did they do this? And then they're going to look back at this podcast. They're going to be like, yo, Dexter Henry, he was a visionary.
He was right.
He was right. He knew. I
right.
just don't get it. Like some of it feels awkward. I'm sure the question will come now. How is it that you can't enjoy, other shows? You can't enjoy other shows like that, right? Or did you enjoy shows in the past that necessarily was like that? And it's like, yeah, I can go back and watch shows I love, like Fresh Prince or The Cosby Show, and still enjoy those shows. But I still do think the element of having laugh tracks is stupid. Like I said, I don't need somebody to tell me when to laugh. And why were people with this? And also, in terms of the Big Bang Theory, who still watches these shows currently that has laugh tracks? Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what it is, too. That's what I was going to point out was that for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, for The Cosby Show, and those shows that have had the laugh tracks before, we kind of like take it for what it is and okay, that came out around that time. You know what I mean? So we just accept that. But the Big Bang Theory is new and still going strong.
It's been on for 10 years.
Yeah. Well, no, but
Crazy.
new in terms of like they can take off the laugh track if they wanted to. They're not going to. And in 2018, they're one of the shows that still has a laugh track.
See,
it's not funny, by the way.
See, I'm gonna kind of say that I'm not surprised that a show like Big Bang Theory exists because of the network it's on. Like when I think about a network that would still use a laugh track, man, that's CBS. That is CBS. If you want to talk about a network that's still going to have shows that use laugh tracks, because how many other networks do it? I mean, Roseanne just came back. Don't know who asked for that. Well, I actually do know who asked for that.
I do too.
Yeah,
we ain't got to do that part of the podcast.
I know who. We know the demographic that asked for that.
It's bad.
That's another thing, and we talked about this on another episode of the podcast, bringing back all this stuff that people want to bring back all the time. We spoke about that with Coming to America.
It was wild.
But
money.
Yeah, I did. So why are people doing that? More comedies have actually gone away from this, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if I think something's funny, I'm going to laugh. Like I said, I don't need to be coerced into laughing. Now, some people will say, well, there were some shows who were taped in front of a live studio audience. Some sitcoms that were. Absolutely true. Some of the Cosby Show was taped in front of and some still are.
Yeah.
That's the thing I kind of don't get either, but whatever. That's a little bit better, but I just don't think it's necessary. If something's funny, it's funny. It can exist in space without I needing other laughter to be there.
Anyways, though, live studio audience, there's a guy on the stage that actually holds cue cards for people to laugh.
Yeah.
So
it's coerced laughter. It's like, oh, we wrote this and we think it's funny.
Yeah.
Laugh.
Yeah.
Like
they give you the exact beats and everything. It's like, yo, if Stephen Colbert makes me laugh, I want to just be able to laugh when I want to laugh.
Well, and here's a little insight. I'm not gonna say where or when. For my own personal career,
oh, I know
they do
where
the
you
same
went.
thing for Good Morning shows. That's all I'm gonna say. There's a person with a cue card and there's signals for the crowd to laugh.
yes.
So
right. Can I say the outlet or you don't?
Well, how do you feel if you're people writing the show or you're the person holding the cue
do you
card?
feel better
because
about
you know
yourself?
what, I wouldn't feel better about myself. Like, yo, this ain't really that funny, because if it's really that funny, I shouldn't have to tell you when to laugh.
Yeah.
Like there should be a problem with that. Like I would feel some kind of way about that. Like if this is what I do in the space of comedy, I shouldn't have to tell you when to laugh. Like I'm not trying to go see Dave Chappelle and have somebody hold the cue card and be like, yo, laugh now, Dexter.
my money back. I want my money back.
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean?
Like if it's funny, it's funny.
If it's funny, it's
Yeah,
funny.
if it's funny, it's
if it's
not.
bad, it's bad.
And the Big Bang Theory is not funny.
Not at all.
That's a sidebar.
Big Bang Theory fans, including my homie Michelle, they're going to come for us.
I don't care.
It's just
Or you,
not,
actually.
I don't care. It's a bad show. I don't care.
You guys,
It's bad.
so you guys aren't excited about that season, 12 and 13 of the Big Bang Theory?
No, I don't.
Yeah, but they canceled Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, that's right.
I mean,
I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine when I'm in a
It
flight.
has its moments.
I never really watched the show.
I watched the first 3 episodes and fell
It's
off.
pretty funny, and there's no laugh
You
track.
really stuck with it long.
There's no laugh track.
Well, I know there's no laugh track.
That helps.
Yeah.
I know.
So that's also.
yeah.
I mean, it's not like I like the show. I don't go out. I don't have a lot of shows that I watch.
I don't have a lot of time.
That's
Well,
why. You know what I mean?
getting away from bad shows that have laugh tracks, a show that's funny that doesn't have a laugh track, found out that they're getting 70 more episodes. Rick and Morty, I am happy about that. But even though I hope the writing stays strong for another 6 or 7
That's
seasons.
the thing that was.
That's the one thing that worries me.
I actually told him this. This is like the Giancarlo Stanton deal. Like
I
I'm not quite sure.
It's such a weird analogy, but it works.
But yeah, it's
And for full
because they gave him a
It's so weird.
13-year deal based on his potential, and I'm like,
Yeah, but he had an opt out. He had an opt out after year 3.
Yeah.
dude, I don't know if they have an opt out in this Rick and Morty
Would
contract.
would
but I
if you were
assume-
the creators of Rick and Morty? Why would you take an opt out?
No, not them, but whoever gave him the Adult
I'm
Swim.
not doing it. Yeah. If Adult Swim,
I would
sat
do an
down
opt out
with me-
after 4. Be like, yo, if this starts to suck, I don't think that's gonna happen. I don't watch Rick and Morty the way you do.
Yeah.
But I've seen I could tell it's funny and things.
I haven't watched season 3. I still have to watch
Yeah.
that for full disclosure.
That's like
season
4 or 5 seasons right there. 12.
No,
12
seven.
episodes.
No, that's
They
7
do 10
seasons. Basically.
They've done 10 episodes a
It's
season.
70 episodes.
Yeah,
That's
they've had
10
31
seven
episodes.
seasons.
They've had 31 episodes in 3
Here's
seasons,
my thing.
right?
I have faith.
Yep.
So now
I have
it's
faith
70
with the
episodes.
show. I have faith with the show though because they could just take it anywhere they want because there's no premise whatsoever.
I hope
It's
it works
so random.
out.
They could do
I hope
anything
it works
they want.
out.
It is.
Maybe they think it could be like
open, and I'll be fine if they take time between these years. They don't feel like they have to rush every season.
Yeah.
Like if they want to take 18 months between a season and 2 years, I'm generally like that. I don't care as long as it's good.
How long has South Park been around?
A long time.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm not a
Park.
maybe that's what they think it can be like.
or Curb Your Enthusiasm, where
Yeah.
Curb Your Enthusiasm has taken the last season between this season that just came out and last season. I think it was 5 years, but it was hilarious. Larry David does it when he's inspired to do it. You know what? And it's fine, and he doesn't use laugh tracks. All right, in a non-laughing matter for somebody,
And in a non-laughing manner. All right.
Dwane Casey lost his job.
Ouch.
Obviously, the Cavaliers swept the Raptors.
Undeservingly.
And you can hear my take on DeMar DeRozan and why he needs to step his game up in my Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, Extra.
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 Now you got me throwing the X up.
X
Yeah.
don't give it to you.
X gonna give it to you.
I had to. I just had to.
Yeah, that song hasn't aged well.
Well, a lot of DMX songs haven't. I don't think.
No, it hasn't. It just made me think about that.
Especially with like Where the Hood At. Those lyrics in that first verse do not age well. You can go back and listen to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a song.
Yeah.
I'm not bumping that anytime
Cats
soon.
don't know what it's gonna be, and you keep going. Once you keep going from there, it's
Nah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
I'll
not.
pass on that.
We're not gonna do
I
that.
love that beat though.
Dwane Casey gets fired after LeBron swept the Raptors. Owned them again. The Raptors have lost 10 straight to the Cleveland Cavaliers. What were your thoughts on that?
What specifically?
Dwane Casey getting fired. Like, did you think he deserved to be fired? I wasn't shocked by it because this is kind of how the way things go in the climate right now. The one thing I always wonder about is a lot of teams fire coaches when they still have like a year left on their deal. So
To
I'm
avoid
like,
the lame duck situation.
I'm still like, you're paying a guy in Dwane Casey situation $6 million
Right, yeah.
to not coach next year. So the way I look at it always is, yo, that dude you bring in next, well, like, what's the bar for him? Because Dwane Casey won 59 games. He sort of improved the way the team played during the regular season. Didn't get it done in the postseason. What do you want next year? Do they have to win 65 games? Do they have to win a championship?
And might
Are
get
they
coach of
really
the year.
built to do that?
And might get coach of the year.
And he's probably he already got voted coach of the year by his peers, by coaches.
Yeah.
Might also get the media vote for coach of the year. And
Yeah.
this guy doesn't have a
He
job.
probably won't now because the media is going to be like, "Oh, he lost in the finals."
But
and
that shouldn't affect
championships.
It's a regular
everything.
season award.
But
That
you know how
shouldn't-
the media is.
Plus,
like,
the votes are in for that already. So it's been in for about
oh, that's
over a
done.
month. Yeah,
okay.
so the votes
So
have been
scrap
in.
whatever I just
Yeah.
said. Oops. But anyway, thoughts on Dwane Casey getting fired? Here's my thing. Obviously, I don't think he deserved to get fired. I don't like when head coaches they have a great regular season, then things just blow up in the playoffs. After, yes, you're better than the Cavs, but you're not better than LeBron. LeBron beats you, so then he gets fired, and that falls on him. I don't think that's the case when we consistently see that Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan don't necessarily rise to the occasion. One in the playoffs, two when playing LeBron. However, if they're going to blow up that nucleus of Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, et cetera, Serge Ibaka, whatever, then I think that, look, you bring in a new head coach that you want to rebuild this with, right? And then
We got a whole craziness. Logo. Our logo is just
you're
disappearing.
watching.
If you're watching, you're seeing a whole bunch of things on the screen that you'd expect. Continue. I'll fix it.
are we going to edit this part or not? We're just going to keep it rolling?
Just keep going.
All right, so basically...
Roll it.
So basically, with Dwane Casey, here's what I think. If you're going to completely just tear this down to build it back up again, like I said in the Ain't Hard to Tell Extra what the Mets should do, right? Then fine. Bring in a new coach. Bring in a young coach, ideally, right? Who has the proper experience, whatever you're looking for. Bring him or her in to oversee this new rebuild instead of just having a new coach come in and try to get the most out of Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan, which is what I think they're going to try and do with Mike Budenholzer, for example. I think they're going to get somebody like a Mike Budenholzer who has experience, who has a good resume, and they're going to think that he's going to, try to really elevate this thing and push them to the next level. When really, I think that you get rid of Dwane Casey, I think you should just blow it up and just start over.
I think I happen to agree with you.
And
I'm
also,
not sure I think that's going to happen.
Me too. And also, I left this out. You should also probably blow it up because Philly, Boston, and LeBron, if he's still in Cleveland, but mostly Philly and Boston, they're going to continue to get better.
I agree with you, and I think sometimes you have to know. I think sometimes teams need to know when to rebuild at the right time and not wait a year or two too long before you could get some stuff.
I think this is the right time.
I happen to agree. Yeah. I think they're not going to do it because they're in a major market. That fan base has supported the team extremely well.
This is the best they've been.
And yeah.
On a run, this is the best they've been.
And they just fired their coach. Yeah. Something that also just doesn't feel right too. Like the best they've been, and they fired their coach.
I have to ask you this then: if Dwane Casey, if he's not black, does the same thing happen? Like,
yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I actually don't think race is a factor.
All right. I just want to ask you because you might have a theory.
Because it happened to George Karl. This isn't unprecedented. I think
George Karl's also a dick.
Yo, George Karl took your lunch money or something?
You read his book? And by the way, I could say that. I could say that.
Yes, you can. I'm aware. He wanted to make sure that we didn't bleep it out.
2012, 2013. I think that was.
He wrote about Carmelo Anthony, blah blah blah.
Yeah, but not. It wasn't just him. There was other players too, and other players that came out and spoke against him. Like J.R. Smith is another one that he's constantly just clashed with. And I mean, granted, J.R. Smith is not like the perfect player, but I mean, George Karl basically. He's never. We're going off on a tangent. I am at least.
Yes, you are.
And he's never ever taken ownership for his own misfortunes. You know what I mean? Like nothing's ever been his fault. That's why he wrote the book, other than the fact that he can make money doing it.
Yeah, I was like,
and there are a lot of people who agree with him because they hate Melo and they hate J.R. Smith and whatever.
Real quick before we hit break, the conference finals are here. We got Warriors, Rockets, we have Cavaliers, Celtics. Your picks are
Rockets and Cavs.
Rockets in how many games?
7.
All right, I'm going Warriors in 7. I'm going Cavs in 6. I think we get Warriors, Cavs again. But inside, I am rooting for the Rockets. I'm a Chris Paul fan.
I want to see something different, and I want to see Chris Paul.
I'm a Chris Paul fan, so I'm rooting for Chris Paul. I want to see Chris Paul get to the finals. Huge Chris Paul fan.
Yeah.
Criminally stupid people underrate him and say that Chris Paul isn't that good. Look at the numbers. He's just one of the best point guards of all time. Oh, he's never been to a conference finals. Like, it's just his fault. Like, that argument about people who talk about people who haven't been somewhere and don't look at the players they're around or the situations. Do you know what Chris Paul did for the Clippers? The Clippers. Do you know what the Clippers were before Chris Paul got there? They were the Clippers.
What about New Orleans?
Yeah. Chris Paul's that, man, Chris Paul's that dude. If you don't think otherwise, you know what I'm talking about.
Rockets in 7, Cavs in 7. I mean, Cavs in 6.
Cavs in 6. All right. Before we go to break, Matt, your Jazz are out of the playoffs. You've been telling us all year to take note. Tell us about your take note about going fishing.
In 60 seconds.
Going fishing?
Yeah, you went fishing.
What do you mean I went fishing?
Y'all went fishing. You're out of the playoffs. Gone fishing. Never seen on TNT. Go fishing.
Oh, man. Let us be, man.
What's up, listeners? You know.
Oh. I made a mistake. But we're keeping this in. All right. I'm extremely proud of my Jazz this year. We weren't even supposed to be in the playoffs. 8th seed was what we were going to be. We actually came a 5th seed. We could have been a 3rd seed. I think if we made that 3rd seed, the whole playoffs would have been different. Otherwise, it would have been different. We would have home court. I mean, yeah, we still would have been. Anyways, I'm proud of you guys.
That's why I raised my eyebrow. I'm like, you would have lost in the second round anyway.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I don't know.
Look,
Rubio got injured.
Was it a good season for you?
Yeah, it was. 100%. 100%. Yeah. It was a roller coaster ride, and I loved it.
Yeah, you just better hope that Donovan Mitchell, doesn't become the volume shooter like he looks like he's destined to become, and then you get some other parts around him to help.
Hopefully. I mean,
he's got to become a little bit more efficient with the shot, but he's
a rookie.
Do you miss Gordon Hayward?
I don't miss Gordon Hayward.
All right. On that note, we're going to take a break.
Note.
Take note. That's right. On that note, we're going to take a break. On episode 30 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, when we come back, we're going to talk about ESPN Plus and how it might be affecting the sport of boxing. What Nigel Hayes, he had some good ideas for the NCAA and also spoke the truth about the NCAA, and also the state of the Mets and Matt Harvey, who this guy traded away in MLB The Show. More on that when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. What's up, listeners? You know sometimes how it can be hard just to get from point A to point B. Now, when I have to get anywhere and I don't want to deal with the hassle of public transportation, it ain't hard to tell how I get around. I always make sure to use the best car service app in the game. I'm talking about Lyft. Lyft offers rides in minutes. All you have to do is download the Lyft app, request a ride, and you will be on your way quickly. Lyft is all about happy riders and happy drivers. Take a ride with them and you'll see why 9 out of 10 rides end up with a 5-star rating. Lyft always has amazing offers for new customers, and I'm here to tell our listeners about a great offer today. Lyft is currently offering free ride credit to Ain't Hard to Tell listeners. If you are new to Lyft, then you are eligible, and getting your credit is easy. All you have to do is download the app and use the promo code ahttPod to unlock your free credit today. Ain't hard to tell who has the best car app service. So use the code today and ride out loud with Lyft. The best new sports web series is here. It's from Backpack Broadcasting, and it's called The Sports Walk. The Sports Walk is a series where diverse sports fans take a walk and share their views at the intersection of sports and society. The entire first season is now available on Backpack Broadcasting's YouTube channel and backpackbroadcasting.com. See what other sports fans have to say about a variety of issues in the world of sports. Watch all 13 episodes from season 1 and take the Sports Walk today. Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 30. We're talking sports, everything that you need to talk about, pop culture, news, whatever else is going on. Brian, you brought to my attention, you posed a question before this podcast about ESPN Plus. For those that don't know, ESPN Plus is basically a new subdivision or channel, online digital channel, if you want to say, for ESPN, where they have exclusive content that you could pay for. You talked about how ESPN, who has obviously been doing a lot to promote the sport of boxing, in alignment with Top Rank,
and Golden Boy,
excuse me. We've seen a lot of these fighters get some exposure now, like Vitaly Lomachenko.
Vasil Lomachenko.
I said Vitaly.
Vitaly's a better name.
Yeah, Vasil. Sorry, I just call him by his last name most times anyway. See, that's I messed
or
it
Loma.
Up. Yeah, or Nomaschenko. You've seen some of these fighters get that exposure to ESPN, which we have talked about being a good thing for the sport to get that exposure. Now you talk to me about how some fighters and some fights upcoming will be on ESPN Plus. So that means if you don't have ESPN Plus, you cannot see these fighters. ESPN Plus. So what's your subscription a month? How much is it?
I think it's $4.99.
$4.99 a month.
I think that sounds right. $4.99.
And you have some interesting content. They've got that show that Kobe's doing where he breaks down the game film, which I didn't get to watch.
What the hell is it called? I know
Decoded. I can't remember.
No, it's damn. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kobe.
Yeah, I haven't checked it out, but it sounds like it's interesting and good. Detail.
Yeah,
sounds like it's interesting and good. He breaks down the game film.
There you go, Kobe. You're welcome.
Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of this, but you, as a boxing fan and aficionado that you are,
and a reporter,
just what do you think about this? You seem to not be a fan of this, from what I got a little bit when we were talking about this off camera air.
To make it clear, I support ESPN Plus. Because, the whole paywall thing, I think people should have to pay for some content. You know what I mean? Because how else are the creators and people going to make money off of it? You know what I mean? They should get the support of the people in doing so. But I understand people are not they're going to be resistant to pay because they're going to get whatever they can get for free and so on and so forth. But anyway, as it pertains to specifically boxing, Terrence Crawford is supposed to fight Jeff Horn June 9th. If you may remember, Jeff Horn, air quotes, beat Manny Pacquiao last year for WBO welterweight title. Terrence Crawford has since moved up in weight because he's cleaned out the 140-pound division. And he is going on to fight Jeff Horn for this welterweight title, a fight that most of us expect Terrence Crawford to win because Terrence Crawford is probably the best fighter in the world, other than maybe Lomachenko. But this is going
pound for pound, they're 1 or 2.
Yeah, this is going to be exclusively on ESPN Plus, and I have an issue with that because Terrence Crawford, who is going to be 30 later this year, is in the prime of his career.
Yep.
But it's still a rising star because not as many people have heard about him. Now, every fight he has, people hear about him, and there's more of a buzz about him. I'm seeing him trend on Twitter a little more. More people are talking about him, et cetera, et cetera. So whatever's been working has been working. He's doing his job, whatever. But now you're putting him behind a paywall again. It's not HBO where it's like subscription-based television where you're going to have HBO or you're not. You know what I mean? Like with ESPN Plus.
But they're trying to make it that.
Yeah. That's basically what they're trying to do. And it's like, dog, his last fight I think was just on regular ESPN. I think that's where he beat Indongo and knocked him out in like the 2nd or 3rd round body shot. It was a great knockout. And now they want to put him behind a paywall. It's like, how are you going to build this star? And they announced Thursday, Billy Joe Saunders, who's another star, who's really a star in the UK because he's from England or whatever. 26-0, 12 knockouts, and his last fight in December, he destroyed this other fighter.
I've yet to see him fight, but read a lot on him.
Yeah, people think that he can give Triple G some sort of problems, and they want to see that fight because those are the 2 best middleweights on the planet. I think Triple G would win, but anyway, Billy Joe Saunders is going to fight 2 weeks after that, June 23rd, against this other man named Martin Murray.
This is also on ESPN Plus?
Also on ESPN Plus exclusively.
That's disappointing. Look, somebody like me who hasn't seen him but wants to see him.
Now, I think that fight is going to be on Sky Sports where he's already popular.
In the UK, right.
But as far as getting him to cross over and be popular in America, why are you sticking a $4.99 paywall behind him? You're only going to get the boxing fans with that. You're not really going to get the casual consumers that much.
But then this goes into the question of what people will pay for content and why, and about what they're going to get, right? But what they might be saying or what they might be thinking, don't know necessarily what their research reflects, is will you as a person who is a boxing reporter, boxing fan, and boxing has kind of become a niche sport, are you willing to do that and get all the other content they have because these fighters you want to see up and coming, you want to see them fight?
Yeah, it's $5.
So, okay.
I'm probably going to do it.
So they got you.
However,
and how many other people are going to make that decision?
That's the thing, though. I hope it works. You know what I mean? But I just don't see really why, if you're trying to develop the star power of these fighters, and I don't even think they're thinking about it this deeply. You know what I mean? I think they're just trying to like, hey, let's take boxing and put it behind a paywall. But I'm saying if you're trying
I don't think ESPN cares about developing the star power of the fighters.
But if you are trying to kind of build that, why are you sticking them behind a paywall as opposed to just putting it on ESPN like the other guys?
Because you want to create the demand for people to come.
We'll see.
And it's not even just about them getting the money. It's that ESPN, this is the fact, they have been losing subscriptions in terms of cable subscribers for the last couple of years. I just got rid of my cable.
Yeah.
I'm now rocking with YouTube TV, so I get my ESPN through YouTube. I love YouTube TV. By the way, shout out to YouTube TV. Fantastic. Like, it's great. If anybody's looking to cut their cable off, go.
Well, in my crib, we just switched over from Fios to Spectrum.
So, so they're losing these subscribers by people our age and even younger, like you guys, they're losing it. Nobody wants to pay for cable.
Yeah,
everything's
on the internet now.
We're heading into a direction of a la carte TV anyway. So that's one thing I want to give ESPN credit for. Now I think they're seeing that, and they're trying to nudge it and look at the groups they can nudge that way. Now, in terms of business, I actually think they're doing the right thing. In terms of how it affects the sport of boxing, I think it hurts the sport of boxing because I think what the sport of boxing needed in the last couple of years, and you and I have agreed on this and spoken about this with the PBC, with other things.
I want to get into that.
It needed more visibility, especially to catch on with younger crowds. MMA has risen a lot because of the easy access and visibility that younger audiences can get to it. Boxing hasn't had that. And with PBC, and I want to steal your point because you were mentioning this to me, what were you telling me about PBC before we talked before about how it's sort of changed in the last 2 years?
So if you notice, that, and actually you were at the Showtime event earlier this year when they announced that,
I was.
that lineup, like, you know what I mean? Like throughout the rest of the year. And now really it's basically, you're not getting the PBC fights, so to speak. Like all of the fighters who were advertised and were on PBC at some point, and PBC, yes, is in conjunction with Showtime or whatever, but you're not seeing the Charlo brothers on Fox anymore, or you're not
CBS
seeing,
or wherever they have.
yeah, you're not seeing Errol Spence on NBC. You're not seeing Keith Thurman. Well, you're not seeing Keith Thurman, period, because he keeps getting injured. Yeah. But you're not seeing Danny Garcia on CBS or whatever. On
so
PBC.
The point is, you're not getting to see the best fighters, or now even the best upcoming fighters.
You're seeing them on Showtime, which subscription television. But the whole thing about PBC was, we're in 2015 they made a decision, or before that probably, but in 2015 is when we started to see, Adrian Broner, you know what I mean, and Robert. I was going to say Robert Guerrero, but forget it, Robert Guerrero. You see all these guys in 2015 on regular just network television, and now all of a sudden it's kind of slowly just morphed into, we're going to stick all these guys back on Showtime. And now the fights that you get on PBC are what you get tonight, Friday, the time we're recording this.
Didn't even know there was one happening.
Ishe Smith versus Tony Harrison.
It could be Ish Smith off the Pistons, and I wouldn't know.
And that's on Bounce TV. Do you have Bounce TV? No, because you have YouTube TV. Do I have Bounce TV? I don't even know.
No, was Bounce TV what was formerly Spike?
See? Nah.
See,
I remember them being different channels.
It's a problem when you're putting your fights on where people don't even know to come. But you know what people will know soon? ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
They're gonna know that soon. Or they're gonna go that now. If ESPN is able to capitalize and put good programming out on ESPN Plus, or good series, and they work on more original content, which I think they're starting to realize that's what people are going to come for outside of what
I hope people pay for it. I hope it works. By the way, this is a good fight.
If they have good content, I think people will come, and that's where I was separating the two. I think business-wise, ESPN is seeing where the content is going.
I agree.
Look at what we do as a podcast. We put the podcast out. We have it on YouTube. We have it all these places you can go get it. And we need people's support too. Yeah. That counts for something too. But what I'm saying is everything is digital, so you have to create stuff in places people can get it. But for the sport, what boxing needs to do is make sure they're getting places where they're visible. I'm intrigued to see what the numbers are in terms of viewership for the two fights you just mentioned to me, especially the Terrence Crawford fight. Yeah. I'm very, very interested.
And that will be the more popular fight here.
Yeah, I'm very interested to see what it is, and I might shell out the $4 to see it, because that might have me as well too, because I might want to see it, or I might want to see some of the content that ESPN is also producing that might be not what we generally get for them on ESPN. If they're giving me something better, if they're giving me some more long-form journalism, some different content than what I could get on traditional TV, I think I'm here for that, because I'm all about supporting that, the non-traditional content.
That's what we do here to some degree.
So
you know what I mean?
I can't ever hate on that.
Yeah.
I'm always going to support that. So it's just something I think we should keep an eye on, and definitely talk about with boxing going forward. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and if you start if you start your free trial, then you can see the Terrence Crawford fight for free.
I'll be starting a free trial for that Terrence Crawford.
Yeah, I'll probably do that June 8th. See if I like it for that month, and then
maybe I'll rock with it. Right?
You're like, hey, it's $5 a month. You know.
Yeah, hopefully the ESPN Plus, they put out good content. Not here to knock them, just hopefully they put out good content.
I hope so. You know what I mean? A lot of people hate ESPN, but I grew up watching ESPN, so I hope it does well.
I don't necessarily have a problem with ESPN. I just think ESPN is now in a changing market. Yeah. Want to get to? You sent me a text. I believe was either this morning or
this morning.
This morning,
it was one of my morning texts.
Yeah, one of Brian's morning texts.
I never say good morning.
This one was with some good information.
The famous Brian morning text.
Morning text. Yeah, sometimes his texts are like kind of about nothing, because this is what Brian does. But this had some good information. Brian sent me
misrepresentation.
Brian sent me this daily news article by Karan Phillips, who he wrote this whole article, but this also was picked up, I think it was by Deadspin as well too.
Deadspin, yes.
Talking about Nigel Hayes, former Wisconsin player,
and New York Nick,
who now ended the season. Was he with the Kings? Did he end the season?
Yeah.
He ended the season with the Kings, but he talked about NCAA, organization that we loved. I believe one of the most corrupt sports organizations there is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you could be pissed off if I said that.
Yeah, you don't need me to double down. You know where I stand.
He talked about a system that could pay players, and I wanted to read a quote from him in which he said, "I would do away with the term impermissible benefits. And with that term no longer in use, these athletes, NCAA athletes, are now allowed to accept money from any party that would like to give them some. If a booster wants to give them $5,000 because they had a great game, they're allowed to do that. If a local restaurant wants to give them dinner, they'd be allowed to do that. And by the same token, if they don't, there's no harm, no foul. And through that use of that, colleges aren't looked at to try to finance this because you can no longer say, where's the money going to come from? If no one wants to give any player money, then they don't have to. Someone does, then they can. Now the NCAA doesn't have to get involved. It would hurt small schools because boosters and restaurant, and it wouldn't hurt, small schools because the boosters and restaurants there could do what they want or choose not to do.
Right.
Under Hayes' plan, he also said a student athlete would be allowed to make money by using his or her own image or likeness, something I absolutely support. He also pointed out that his rules would apply to all athletes, no matter the sport, so that there would be fluidity across the country, as some sports are more popular on certain campuses, so obviously this would not affect Title IX. Your thoughts on this? I'm all like, it makes sense in the terms of what people like to build up as far as capitalism in this country, but when it comes to the NCAA and
That's my point.
amateur athletics, which it really is not, we are not against that, which I never have understood. Yeah, I think what Nigel Hayes is saying makes clear damn sense.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think it makes too much sense, so they're not going to do it. That's basically it with the NCAA. It's like the NCAA is going to want to keep what their perception of amateurism is. They're going to want to keep amateurism as amateurism. So they're going to try to restrict at every turn the kids getting paid or whoever's getting paid off their own likeness, off their own abilities and whatnot. And kids are just not going to get paid. They're going to continue to not get paid. But what Nigel Hayes is saying makes a lot of sense. I want him to be the NCAA president. You know what I mean? Now Nigel Hayes for president. But yeah, it's not going to happen. I hate when things like this just make a lot of sense.
But somebody's gonna be like, nah.
Yeah, but it's like, but it's just not.
We still want to eat, but we don't want to let those other people eat.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to Jaron Phillips, because he said there was one. Karan Phillips, excuse me. He said in this article, in short, step one of Hayes' system is similar to a love offering for a pastor at a black church. I was like, yeah, that's right. If you ever been up in a black church, you know about them love offerings. And love offerings is, hey, I can give whatever I want because I got love. I want to give $5,000. You want to give $5. You want to give $2. It's all love. How are you going to hate on the love?
Well, the
NCAA
will do that.
They do that. Like this is what they do. I'm all for them not hating on these kids, to make the money that I think they could.
Yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say that he had touched upon in here that I thought was interesting, he said that he believes, and I think we've kind of touched on this before, he believes that the NCAA not paying student athletes is less about money the NCAA putting in their pockets and more about race. And his quote was this: we live in an overtly and covertly racist country. And the reason why we won't pay college athletes is because we don't want to pay black people money. He explained. Now, this kind of goes into my whole thing about people talking about how they like college basketball. They think the game of college basketball is better played than the NBA. Yeah. Kind of ties into that. He said, as those that participate in sports played predominantly by white athletes, baseball, hockey, golf, and tennis, have more options to monetarily capitalize on their skills than football and basketball players do, which are dominated by athletes of color. Because by paying black people money, you will uplift those black people out of poverty and put them on a higher level than they were. And by doing that, you decrease the gap between the middle class of black and white people. And by paying them, you allow them to have the resources to give themselves a better life. I'm going to end by saying what Karan Phillips said. Nigel Hayes gets it. The only question is, will the NCAA get it? Brian and I, sadly, as we go to break, we don't think that they will. Nope. We got more to talk about when we get back. We'll talk more about what is America. Well, covert racism is sure part of it, but This Is America, a new video that dropped and song by Childish Gambino. We're going to talk about our thoughts of that. We come back on Ain't Hard to Tell podcast.
Sports Guru is the place where fans talk about sports via video. All videos are 60 seconds or shorter. Sports Guru makes the video look more professional and fun by adding automated on-screen graphics. You can follow your favorite sports by team, trending, new, or by people you follow, and more. Type in the title of your video and it will auto-magically go into your on-screen graphics. It's just that simple. Tag your teams and publish sports. Let's talk sports.
It ain't hard to tell where to get the latest merchandise from Backpack Broadcasting. Gear is now available via TeePublic. Visit the Backpack Broadcasting TeePublic online store to get shirts, hoodies, mugs, and phone cases. Represent your favorite Backpack Broadcasting shows, including The Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, and of course, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Check out the special offers for our podcast listeners at http://t.pub/lic/backpack. Get in the game with your official Backpack Broadcasting gear today. Yo, the producer, Matthew Faniza, just killed the vibe. He was bumping the new Childish Gambino, This Is America single, and I was like, yo, we got to come back from break.
It was to hype you up.
Yo, he just, right as we got in, when the beat dropped, he just cut it off.
We gotta get a show. We got a show to go.
We got a show to go. Yo, you killed the vibe, man.
I can't play it. Copyright.
Yeah, we know.
I wasn't that hyped up. I was focusing on these wheat things.
Yeah, because it wasn't Freddie Gibbs.
I saw that coming. I set you up. I low-key set you up.
You did. Go eat your wheat
No,
thins.
he was going to say it anyway. All right, so Childish Gambino drops a video last Saturday. No, he dropped it actually on Friday. I can't remember if it was Friday or Saturday. Anyway, it was last week, about a week ago, for the time of recording this podcast. New single, This Is America, which should be coming for his next album, which he also said will be his last album, but there is no title for this album yet.
Never believe artists when they say their next album is going to be their last album.
Yeah, we've heard Lupe Fiasco say that many times.
And Jay-Z.
Yeah. So, yeah, I understand when people don't believe that. Although, for some reason, I actually would believe Donald Glover more than somebody else, because I think he actually respects the finality of things, and when he's done with something, I think he'll be done with something.
And I also just think he's going to, just continue to branch out.
And he'll create something else.
Yeah.
I think that's the kind of person he is. I read this. There was
Music
a really good,
doesn't make money like that.
There's a really good piece I read on him earlier this year. I'm forgetting the publication. My friend Crystal's going to kill me because she had sent to me, and I love this article. I don't remember the publication that wrote it, but it was a fantastic piece on him and his creative process, and it was really good. If I remember it, I'll mention another episode. Anyway, his video single drops, performs it on Saturday Night Live, along with another song called Saturday, which I think is really, really dope and has such a good vibe. But This Is America kind of has overshadowed that song. People are mainly talking about this video. Some people are calling Donald Glover a genius. I think we need to pump the brakes on that word.
Yeah, he may be, but
we
you
don't
want to put that on.
Yeah, people need to just pump the brakes on that word. We're doing too much with that word, and calling people that. And I don't know if necessarily being very creative is something makes you a genius. Anyway, we'll get to more of that. The video I thought was visually stunning. Mm-hmm. I thought it was dope. I think it's very layered. I think there's still things I've only watched it twice. I need to watch it some more. I read something this morning about how people are always seeing more and more things, and I read something with the choreographer, African woman who did the choreography for the video, super talented. I'm forgetting her name. I apologize, but she did the choreography of the video, and I think it's very well done. And there's a lot of obviously shocking stuff in the video. You're seeing people get shot, some strong imagery. What was your reaction to the video? I know you're not in love with the song as much as some other people.
Yeah, you don't want to misrepresent me either, because people, when you don't love something,
you're a hater.
You're
a hater.
No, I like the song. I just don't love the song. Like, it's not a big deal.
That's fine.
And I like the video too. For me, I would have liked to have seen, and this has been a common criticism, but I actually agree with this, was how he shot the people in the choir. Like, reminiscent of what Dylan Roof did. And he probably shouldn't have did that in the video. He probably just should have kept dancing as destruction was going on behind him, and have some, short white dude with a racist haircut look at shoot the people that were there. You know what I'm talking about.
Yo, what's the racist haircut?
You know what I'm talking about. That bowl thing?
A bowl.
Whatever it's called.
I thought you were going to go with a mullet, but okay. Shout out to all the people at mullet.
Nah,
Sorry about that.
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie. Racist, then you probably like if you're a mullet and Confederate flag wearing, then it's like
Eddie Guerrero had a mullet, but I know which one you're talking about. What's the dude from the movie? The dude
from the movie. That's the best
Joe
way you can
Dirt.
describe
He had a Fu Manchu.
Joe Dirt.
Mark Sanchez mustache.
Joe Dirt.
Is that the one?
Wow,
He
yeah.
had the mullet?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm not
Joe
tripping.
Dirt.
Yeah.
All right, anyway. But
You
this
like
is
you like that movie.
Of course he
it's
does.
It's a great movie.
Of course he does.
Nah, it's a great movie.
Because we know what you like.
Real excited. If y'all could have seen Matt's face when he said Joe Dirt, like he just smiled, like yo,
It's Joe Dirt.
yo,
Oh man.
Yo,
It's a good movie.
That's like, I don't know. That was like, your smile was like when you mentioned Coming to America to black people. It's like, yo, Coming to America is great.
I love Coming to America.
It's true, but you had that smile that like I would have about that movie.
Yeah, that's gonna be my face when Bandana finally
Like
drops.
Joe Dirt. Joe Dirt's is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
I got
What'd you
that
say?
in there.
But you really got happy.
I said that's gonna be my face when Bandana finally drops.
Oh, God.
Yo, what?
Please. Anyways.
Video's dope. I need to, again, I like you, I need to keep watching it because I've only seen it 2 or 3 times. I want to keep watching it, but no, I think the timing of these things really matters. I feel like the timing is great, and you know, I'm curious to see what else he has to say because, as you mentioned, he has an album coming up. I'm curious to see what else is he gonna put out musically.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I was not a huge fan, as some people was, of his last album, Awaken My Love. I thought it was
me neither. I'm not a huge Childish Gambino fan,
but I like that he has the ability as a creative to he doesn't stick to one thing in music like rap, or he's sung a little bit. Obviously, Redbone is a fantastic song. But so I like this song because it kind of plays on elements of singing and some of hip hop. Very nice bass. I do like the production on the song. I do like what he's talking about. Overall in the song in America, and I think maybe the black experience in America. To get to your point about him shooting the choir, which, you know, I was speaking with a friend and she was talking about how that was like unsettling, and it was in that sense to just see a black man shoot the choir, and the church is really held up high in the black community,
and then
especially in
dance.
certain places like the South, and to see that, I'm still trying to unpack why he chose himself to do the shootings. I feel like there has to be some kind of meaning, at least from him, on that. I don't understand it. There's some people who are saying the video is genius and they're acting like it's some life-changing thing that's gone on.
But that's what we have. That's what we do now. That's what we do.
And it's so, you know what, man? It's okay for me to say, yo, I don't get the entire scope of the video. The point of it. I have some theories. But I'm willing to dive into that at a later time when I digest it some more.
Right.
And I've read some things, and I totally enjoy listening to other people who might have dove into a little bit more and have a perspective. And it's fine to share your theories, but I think the reactionary move, sometimes I think we can be too reactionary with stuff instead of actually digesting things for a while.
And it makes you like kind of not really appreciate the art in the way you should, because people just want to react to it right away, and then they're going to be on to the next thing.
So for me, because of that, and I'm not telling anybody what to do. If you choose to engage in consuming your art or something like that, or the reactions to it, that's fine. For me, sometimes with certain art, I stay away. I don't read album reviews very quickly. I might sit away for a week with the album, and I digest it for a week and see how I feel. Then I might be like, okay, what does somebody else think about it? And to be honest, I sometimes don't care what everybody else thinks about it. If I like it and I really rock with it, then I rock with it, and that's all that matters. Just like you really like Freddie Gibbs. I think I'm like, you shouldn't care what I think about it, or you shouldn't care what Matt thinks about it. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? Like if you rock with it, you rock with it. I don't have to be like, yo, everybody else has to like it for me to like it. That's just me, and so I try to do this pretty consistently with a lot of stuff I consume. There's certain things I might read with shows that are a little bit different depending on the shows they are.
Yeah.
I might read some like weekly recaps of stuff from other people, but like I do that with Atlanta. I think I tend to do that more with half-hour shows than I do with hour-long dramas. I might not read anything till the end of the season on those kind of shows. With comedies, I might read a little bit more. I just think sometimes you can get too consumed by everybody else's thoughts besides yourself and really know how you feel about something.
That's what Twitter is.
Yeah.
And people are doing it for retweets and likes all the time, and they lose themselves in, you know, this entire process. I think we do this with Kendrick Lamar a lot. And I remember when To Pimp a Butterfly came out, and everybody just right away, just instantly like, similar, you know, he's genius. But I'm like, there's no way. And it was maybe a 24-hour period from the moment the album dropped. And I'm like, there's no way in hell that, one, all these people already like kind of unpacked everything, and two, already listened to it. You know what I mean? Like already just have these reactions for an album, probably his most intricate piece of work.
I agree with that.
You know what I mean? And already people are like, yo, like I hate 444, same thing. 12 o'clock the album drops, or maybe 11 on some sites, and then I'm already 12:15, 12:30 on Twitter, and I'll really see like quotes, bars already on.
I think what's interesting
and I'm
is
like, why do we feel the need to react right away? Like, we can't just say. I just finally tweeted about the Book of Ryan, which we're about to get to. Royce the 5'9"
Yeah, we'll get to that.
album.
We'll get to that in a second.
And it's been out for a week.
And you know what's funny? I'm going to actually talk about my listening to that album the first time. I'm going to get into that in a second. And my reaction to it. And I spoke with a friend, like literally half an hour after I finished listening to the album, the first listen through. And I'll get into that in a second. But I agree with you. And going back to this Pimp a Butterfly album, in which I do think is a masterpiece and I do think it's a classic. So I want to preface that by saying that. When I listened to that album, I remember being like, man, this is a really good follow-up to Good Kid, Mad City. It's a really good message. When I listened to the end of that album and I heard how all the bits of the poem fit together, and then he's talking to Pac and how the whole message of the album came together, I was like, man, this is dope. And because this is what I generally do with really dope albums I like, if I have the time, I immediately went back and listened again. Immediately, like I did immediate second listen. Because I really, really liked it. And you know, Kendrick's very layered. And that album's a lot. That album to me was more dense than Good Kid, Mad City. So I really did need another listen. Even though I got the concept, because I'm really a lyrics person, I'm into all the lyrics when I'm first listening, I really listen again. Obviously, you pick up on other things and sounds and ad-libs and different things here in storytelling. Yeah, and I was like, this is really good. I'm not somebody who's opposed to instantly knowing that something is classic in music. I'm not somebody who's opposed to that. I think you can. There's some albums I've known, but I still don't even like declaring it. I don't want to declare it. I still might be like, I'm gonna be like, yo, I'm really feeling this, but I'm not gonna throw the C word out there.
Yeah.
Just like we're throwing the G word out there. Oh, yo, this is America's dope. He's a genius. Yeah. Man, shut up.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Like some of it is too much, man. And why do we have the need to, like, what is this about having to declare everybody, put them in a position in a place so quickly? You spoke about this on your extra. Why do we have to do that? Some of y'all was doing this with Kanye, and now the same people y'all talking about, oh, I don't know.
Some people are still doing it with Kanye.
Yeah. Yo, y'all need to stop that. You know who you are. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit annoying in society. I think we got to be really calm with labeling people genius. I think Donald Glover is really damn talented at what he does. I think Atlanta is great. I love Atlanta. It's one of my favorite shows right now. I think it's fantastic.
Yeah. I like the stand-up comedy.
I've never really watched much of stand-up comedy, so I can't really get into that.
I have to see Atlanta.
And that's fine. And I think what he's done with some of his music is very good and interesting. And so I just want to see him, especially as a black creator, I'm proud to see that. You know, in the words of Issa Rae, I'm rooting for everybody black. Yeah. I'm proud to see that. So I'm proud to see him be able to express that. I'm glad for the freedom he has to do his expression. That's something I like from seeing him that I think is good. But we're going to move on because we have one other topic to tackle before we wrap up this podcast. I talked in my extra that will be released about the Book of Ryan, a new album from Royce the 5'9". I'm going to get into what I had in my first listen. I just kind of teased that. But you heard it. I didn't even talk to you about it for a couple of days because we were so busy with Backpack Broadcasting, with streaming games this weekend and doing a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right.
I finally hit you up and you were like,
"This is best work."
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. It's funny because, and I don't know Royce at all. I would love to have him on the podcast, but I don't know.
Royce, we need you on the podcast, man.
I don't know Royce at all, but I've been listening to him legitimately for most of my life because he came out, boom, dropped when, 99?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that?
I was still in high school.
I remember hearing, I'm not going to say how
just
old
dated
I was.
myself.
I'm not going to.
Again, I mean, people know my age, so it's not like I care.
Because no, and then I usually follow up with, I was like 2. And then you're going to feel,
I don't feel any kind of way.
All right.
I'm good. Black don't crack.
In 99, I was 5. But basically, since around that time, that was when I first heard of Royce the 5'9", right?
Wait.
What?
Wait.
What?
You were listening to Boom at 5 years old?
No, remember, my brother, who's, around your age.
Your brother was bumping Boom to you in 5 years
I
old?
remember hearing, because my brother.
I'm trying to picture you with some headphones on.
No, like it would come up. Remember, it got heavy rotation on TV, on MTV.
Right.
That was where I would consume it because that was when MTV actually played damn music videos. So I remember. I remember one of the first songs I ever remember hearing was Nas Like around the same time.
Wow.
So I remember Nas Like. I remember Protect Your Neck to Jump Off, and I remember Boom. There are other songs too. Annie Up. You know what I mean? So
yo, we're gonna have to say I'm telling people hold this to us, and maybe some of you guys can send us in for a video submission. I want to know from people about the first time they remember hearing specific songs, because I always think you associate songs with memories and stuff. So that's interesting. We're going to keep that topic for another podcast, but you made me think of something.
So boom around there, and then I remember like the Beef DVDs, and he was beefing with D12. And this is when
you was watching this at 5 years old.
No. Beef DVDs was like 2002, 2003 ish.
I mean, that's still like 8 years old.
My older brother kind of raised me. You know what I'm saying? So
Brian was watching.
I was wilding. You know what I mean?
Like that. You know, I don't know if 9-year-olds should have been watching that. That's all I'm saying.
So then, like later on, Slaughterhouse formed when I just got to high school, basically. I started high school in 2008. Slaughterhouse basically formed, right? They had the Death of Autotune freestyle, which went on forever, and they all ripped it.
I remember that. I gotta listen.
Yeah, I remember that. And then Street Hop dropped. I have a hard copy of Street Hop.
This is how Brian proves his fandom. I have a hard copy.
Yeah, hard copy of Street Hop.
Another Bryan Fonseca staple.
Hard copy.
If he has a hard copy, he's a real fan. If he remembers the name of a musical track in a video game, real fan.
Hold on. Hard copy of Street Hop from 2009, of Success is Certain, which came out the year or two after, and Slaughterhouse.
I think I asked you this before, so I'm going to ask it again. I think I asked it in the podcast. Where are these hard copies? And can you bring them in? Can you just bring them so the next time you have, you can just reach in your bag.
When we do a podcast,
right here.
We'll do a podcast from my crib, and then I'll bring them out.
Wow. Why can't you just bring them with you?
Because it's a lot to carry.
It's CDs. You act like they weigh like 20 pounds. They're CDs.
I got a lot of them. But anyway, so
and
I'm getting
I'll
off
be
topic.
laughing at you for just carrying
I'm getting off topic. Yeah, I'll be like, yo, guys, I'm selling mixtapes, $2, whatever.
Yes.
So basically, Royce the 5'9", like I've been listening to this dude for most of my life. And especially since I got to high school when he was putting out more consistent like
music,
Street Hop, Slaughterhouse, Success is Certain, The Bad Meets Evil Project, so on and so forth. And now to hear him, I don't remember which. Oh, I think it was Rap Radar, where he was like, "I want a classic, like I still want a classic album."
Yes, he said on the Rap Radar podcast.
To hear somebody at 40 and who's still lyrically sharp. Joe Budden says he's top 2 with Kendrick Lamar. I kind of agree. You know what I mean? And Freddie Gibbs. And then
Freddie Gibbs is not in that class, but we should have known that was coming.
And then basically. To hear him say that, and then he ends up dropping what I kind of feel like is a classic album. It's going to be, at least.
Oh, you used the C word, man.
And it would be his only one, because he's had other good projects, but you know he
said nothing close to a classic. Well, I mean, if you don't count Prime, but
Death is Certain.
It's not close to classic.
Not a classic, but
it's good, but it's not like
Book
that.
of Ryan, I feel like it's long. However, it's a complete project, and I can see where it's long, but it kind of like, I mean, you could lose, you know, like the summer song and the one with T-Pain, but still, I can see where sequencing really blends a lot of stuff together. And sequencing, I always say that it matters, and on this album, really, really, really well done. There are some songs that are great.
I agree. There are great songs on this album. I think this is what puts this into the top of the album of the year, hip-hop conversation. There are great songs in this album. If you haven't listened to this album, I encourage you to as a hip-hop fan.
I only wish Tabernacle was there.
We spoke about this. You know, it's funny. Before hearing this album, we spoke about how we thought Tabernacle might fit into this album. We were just theorizing. Yeah. And then we both listened to it, and I was like, yo, Tabernacle, which is a song for Royce's previous album, Layers, which I didn't care for at all whatsoever. And Brian did.
It was on Trust the Shooter.
Yeah, Trust the Shooter. And I thought this could have worked perfectly on this album.
Yeah.
A friend of mine I made this point to a friend who had not listened to Layers, but told me he read a review and that somebody made that same point in the review. Because I said it to him, he's like, yo, somebody made the same point you made, that Tabernacle would work on this album. Anyways, what I want to say, what I love about this album, I think that puts it beside these great songs, is that the album is so personal. Royce really got very introspective. He talked about topics like domestic abuse, his dad beating on his mom, his brother going to jail for protecting him, alcoholism, how you deal with it, his dad dealing with drug addiction and cocaine. Probably one of my favorite songs on the album. Fantastic song on the album. Talking about how his alcoholism, and he think it might affect his relationship with his son, or will his son go down the same path he did. The songs that are really personal on this album, most of the album is that, and there are a couple of songs where there's some lyrical flexing, which anybody knows Royce, that's something you can appreciate on that.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't necessarily think the lyrical flexing songs fit into the album, but they aren't bad at all. They're actually really good lyrical flexing songs where Royce is sharp and witty as ever. Caterpillar with Eminem.
Not the one with Logic.
Just poops on the verse, and if you listen to the verse, you understand why the word poop is significant in that as an extended metaphor.
That is
great verse. Also, what's the other song with Summer on Lock with Pusha T and Jadakiss and Fabulous, all who did great jobs on Gress versus Pusha T and the hook. Legendary, a song I was bumping like heavily today. That's probably gonna be like my workout jam right now.
Yeah.
Even those songs that don't fit necessarily into really the theme work on this album. The production's really good.
Really good.
Shout out to Mr. Porter, S1, who handled the bulk of this production on here. Really, really good. Obviously, the lead single, Boblo Boat with J. Cole, who has my verse of the year right now on that song. And that is my hip-hop song of the year. Wow. I absolutely love that song. I think it's the best hip-hop song that's come out this year. I think the song's fantastic. Production's great. Concept is great. J. Cole murders it.
Yeah.
Look, I love this album. I've been
too.
playing it heavy for the past
Me
week.
too.
I don't think I'm just living in the moment. I think right now it's right there with either this or Fonte for album of the year for me. I think you told me you're leaning more to this.
Yeah. I have a top 5 already.
Yeah, that's fine.
This year.
We're in June. Yo, Matt is like, yo, let's break it. Let's not go into top 5 because we know how top 5 went when we did top 5 albums.
I don't have an order, but I know all 5 that will be in my top 5
We're not going to go into that. We can't tease people. Let them know for the rest into the year.
I'm not going to do.
You understand? We do understand that one of those slots are reserved for Bandana and Freddie Gibbs already.
Well, until it drops, no. Nah, he has to earn it. What the hell? Like, you know what I mean?
You're super fan, so I thought you just might put him in anyway.
No, because I'm not I'm not biased.
Do you have a rating for this album before we go?
Oh, I don't know, but it's gonna be at least a 9.
I agree with that.
It's either gonna be 9 or 9.5.
I think it's like
I think
9
it's
or 4.5 out of 5.
I actually think it might be my album of the year right now.
It's really, man.
I think it's good because there's other great albums you don't want me to get.
But let me, and I will say this before we go. I'm happy for Royce.
Me too.
That he made this in this space where he finally made a really personal album. I think in a way it's also sad that it took him so long for us to really know about him as an artist, because I think that's kind of been the knock with him on his other albums is you don't really know a lot about him. But he kind of has been doing this with the Prime albums that came before this, and telling you a little about his alcoholism and things of that nature. But he really went in, and I think a thing, I'll let you go, that he touched on the album was how he's afraid whether making this music that is more close to what's going on in his life, will it be well received? So I wonder how well received this album will be. I think it'll be critically acclaimed, but sales, which I don't think necessarily matters how good the album is.
I think it'll do well.
I hope so.
But I think I remember him saying this, and we're gonna wrap this up. I remember him saying this on a Rap Radar podcast also, where he said, I think this is what he said. He said this is the album that he should have started with in his career.
I agree.
That's what he felt like. But I feel like, and as he said on Tabernacle, the universe has this weird way of balancing itself out. And I say that to say, I feel like maybe the timing was just right. Like maybe, whatever happened, like everything happens for a reason. He went through the things he went through. So then it could culminate. Yeah. So then it could culminate into making this. So then he's older, he's wiser, he's more sharp lyrically, he's better than he used to be, which is crazy. Yep. And then at 40, 39, whatever, he sits down and he makes this album. And I hope that people receive it as well as we do. I hope that people go and listen to it. And I hope that, even though I don't think a Grammy necessarily means the be-all, end-all, I think and hope that he gets a Grammy nomination for it.
I think it will be dope. I think if anybody knows anything about hip-hop and is really listening this year, this is a good album. It tackles a lot of issues. And I also think that what's good in hip-hop, the thing I am kind of liking right now, and the albums that I have really enjoyed this year, with his album, Fonte and Sky Zoo and J. Cole, is
that's 4 of my top 5. The other one's Nipsey Hussle.
You have some people you have some people talking about some different things that you might not typically hear in hip-hop, and you're hearing people open up about depression and alcoholism and all these different things and topics that might sort of been taboo in hip-hop before, or drug abuse like J. Cole did, and different things like that. And I think that's what makes it dope. And that excites me about hip-hop, because it's time to hear some refreshing new stories, and it's time to be like, yo, it's okay for like men most men in a male-dominated space like hip-hop is, to open up about their feelings and their experiences in a non-hyper-aggressive or hyper-masculine way. I think that's actually dope, and that's something that's really good, and I've been enjoying that in hip-hop. And this year, you can go back to 444 last year and a whole bunch of other things we can talk about, but like, I think that's good. I'm with Bryan. I think you should check out the album.
Got to.
I think it's dope. Production, lyrics, really tight. Hats off to Royce. And yo, Royce, we hope that you keep making albums that you maybe feel more personal. Make what you feel. You're 40 now.
Yeah.
You know, screw it. You don't have to make albums for whatever. And Royce has done a lot. He make a lyrically flexible album like Prime. He could put out the bar exam and rap over, commercial beats, and it's still dope. Yeah. Do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we do here at Backpack Broadcasting. We do what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? We make the content we want to make. That's what we do. But we thank you guys for always supporting our content. Please always support the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. You can give us a rating on iTunes, wherever you listen to, TuneIn, Google Play, Stitcher. Give us a 5-star rating because it's a 5-star podcast. Just letting y'all know. We know this, right?
Donate to Patreon, too.
Donate to Patreon. We're on Patreon. You support us, share us, retweet us, like us. Hey, we need more video submissions coming up next week. We should have a guest next week. When we come back, that'll be episode 31, the Mike Piazza episode. We are not allowing any space for Reggie Miller in terms of being related to that episode. That will not happen. So we'll be back next week with more. That's it for episode 30 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. I'm Dexter Henry. That's Bryan Fonseca. Matthew Finiza is the producer. He'll say take note. We say goodbye.
What about the Jason Terry episode?
Take note.
Does that work for you? Jason
He got done talking about LeBron.
Everybody tag Royce.
Tag him.